only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined, as always, by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hafner.
And our demented and fermented Wade Bayers. You're right, Steph.
You like that?
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It was me trying to quickly swallow beer and say my name at the same time.
Nice. So we are on location today, somewhere I've been a few times, including recording here before. And it's always a nice little trip down here to Old City. We're at Second Story Brewing Company, which is in Old City in Philadelphia. So a nice little Uber ride away, thankfully. But we have a returning guest and a new guest with us, which we're very happy to have. We have with us Mr.
John Wible.
As I interrupt you from clearing your throat,
Sorry.
I apologize. I'm 2 for 2 on
That's
that so
right.
far.
No worries.
And we
Get
have
ready, Rory.
Yes, we have our new friend.
RoryMcClure.
No relation to his brother. Oh, and applause from the
He has
audience.
a
Look at that.
fan club.
Popular one.
All right. And yeah, so this is going to show people do actually show up for our events. But yeah, we're at Second Story, and we're chowing down on some food, drinking some beer. We've got a sipping beer in front of us, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the Pilsner?
Yeah, it's the Daisy Point Pills.
Daisy Point Pills. And I have to say, it complements the pulled pork very well, because I have a pulled pork sandwich here.
Goes good with the burger, too.
All right, good.
And whatever weird vegan thing that Steph has.
Whatever. It's
Yeah.
delicious beer.
Pilsner's just a great, like, all-around, all-purpose beer. All year,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the, I think, temperature is outside.
Oh, yeah.
And this beer is it kind of is becoming one of, like, the regular occurrences on the menu. It is 100% Pilsner malt and hopped entirely with Hallertau.
Which explains the floralness.
Yes,
It's super
very floral.
Yeah, and I got to say, for a day that's kind of muggy outside, this hits the spot. It really hits the spot. Nice and cool and crisp and really, really good.
It kind of reminds you of, I don't know, like a warm July day.
Yeah,
It
Getting
does,
close.
we are getting close to that. We can't go without saying, again, that this episode is brought to you by Audible. You can, of course, go to audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Sign up for your free 30-day trial, where you get to download and keep an audiobook for yourself. Jim Cook has a new book that's out. You can get, I've got The Science of Star Trek. Wayne and I were talking about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which apparently the BBC is doing a new series.
Are they really?
On Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Have you
Galaxy.
ever seen the old series?
No.
Like the 80s or whatever it was?
I couldn't get through it.
It's charming.
That's probably the best way to put it.
It's charming.
Yeah, but there's a lot that's on there. You get to go for a 30-day trial. If you happen to keep it, you can. They work on a credit-based system, and you get X amount of credits a month, which are X amount of books a month, and you get to listen to it while you're on the go. And I know, personally, I listen to a lot of things kind of in the background while I'm going about my day, and if you have a long commute, if you're doing some chores, or, it's getting to be summertime and you have to do some yard work or something, once you're done listening to Beer Busters, of course, you can have your book with you. So whatever you choose, audibletrial.com/beerbusters.
And while you're slashing Beer Busters...
Oh, we're slashing again.
Don't forget to go to patreon.com/beerbusters and sign up to be one of our super awesome patrons. You can donate a couple bucks to us each time we release a podcast episode, or as little as $1 a month, and you get all the cool behind the scenes and behind the curtain stuff and all the pictures that Steph takes of us while we're eating and recording that we're not paying attention to.
Yeah, it's candid. It's better
And
that way.
we also started releasing our podcast outtakes a little early for our
Yes,
patrons.
and Wayne and
So-
I had a very in-depth, confusing discussion as to the time frame of that, but they are available first to patrons.
so go to patreon.com/beerbusters to learn more.
And we also have some awesome events coming up. 2 beer fests that we're very excited to be a part of. First is the Effort to Brew Fest, and I had the pleasure to sit down with 2 of the organizers, Joy and Patrick, this week, and wrote a pretty extensive article about the upcoming event. Super awesome people, and it sounds like it's going to be an amazing event. Cox Brewing, St. Boniface Brewing, Black Forest Brewery, Union Barrel Works, Wacker Brewing, Lancaster Brewing Company, Mooduk Brewery, Howling Henry's, Mad Chef, Renewal Kombucha, and more to come are going to be added, and that is Saturday, June 25th. Main Street, Ephrata. It should be a beautiful day and a great fest. Additionally, the Pottstown Brew Fest, which is coming up on October 22nd. It's going to have over 150 beers from 65 plus of the best craft breweries in the Mid-Atlantic and across the U.S. And again, that VIP session, so limited. I'm sure it's getting close to being sold out. Don't miss out on your opportunity to try some really rare and exclusive beers. I know I've listed the breweries that will be at the fest, but I just want to point out some new ones that have been added since our last episode.
Can you do it in one breath?
Well, I'm not doing them all. I'm just going to name the new ones.
All right. In one breath.
Dark Horse Brewing, Pizza Boy, Cigar City, Clown Shoes, Ballast Point, Bullfrog, Cape May Brewing, Medusold Meadery, Current Heart, handcrafted hard ciders,
So
Old
close.
Forge, and Sprecher Brewing have been added. In addition to some of our favorite breweries and brewers that have been on the show, Conshohocken Brewing, Evil Genius, Free Will, Hidden River, which is an upcoming episode for us, Hijinks, Levante, Manayunk, so many past guests, St. Benjamin, Saucony Creek, and of course, there's a whole many more, but I won't name them all.
A whole many more.
Check it out. Ephrata Brewfest, June 25th, and the Pottstown Brewfest on October 22nd.
Yes, and if you do the VIP for Pottstown, as Wayne came up with last episode, if you're in the VIP, normally our shirts are $20 a piece, but if you do the VIP there, you can do 2 for $30 if you say you heard it here on the
That's right.
Podcast.
But make sure to mention that to us, because I forgot until Dan just reminded me just now.
I only remember because I was putting some last-minute touches in the last episode right before we got here.
But yeah, we'll definitely hook you up.
Absolutely. Well, now that we have all that out of the way, I feel like we should do a little bit of this. So I got a couple of stories. One I thought was fairly interesting, and I know Steph will probably have an opinion on it. And I can already see the smirk as she's trying to fight back comments before I say what it is.
I read the article.
Yeah, I would hope you did. If anyone's familiar with SodaStream,
Oh, that's right.
it's SodaStream is a little thing you buy, and it comes with a CO2 container, and you have these bottles. There's either 20 ounce or a liter, and you put water in it, you carbonate it with the machine, and then you put soda syrup into it and shake it up, and boom, you've got a soda. And it's not as unhealthy as like Coke or Pepsi or anything like that. It's still, soda. But they have announced, and as the press release reads, SodaStream International Limited, the leading global manufacturer and distributor of sparkling water makers, has announced the release of its own new home beer system, the Beer Bar. The brand is an exciting concept of making quality home-crafted beer using sparkling water and a unique beer concentrate brewed to perfection.
Beer concentrate.
Yes, the Beer Bar.
Scary.
Words I never thought I'd hear.
Yes.
I know, right?
The Beer Bar is unveiled with a light beer called Blondie that has a smooth, authentic taste and a hop-filled aroma. The Beer Bar enables, and of course, from the brewers at the table here, they know exactly what this means.
Almost tastes like
Shit,
beer.
we're out of work.
Yeah, right?
The Beer Bar enables consumers to concoct crafted beer in seconds by adding Blondie concentrate to sparkling water. And I should note that sparkling water is capitalized in their press release.
Okay.
So apparently that's like the official name of it. Blondie contains 4.5% alcohol by volume, the average level found in most global beer brands. Cough. A 1 liter Blondie bottle yields approximately 3 liters of beer. We are excited to launch a brand dedicated to serving the global growing trend of home-crafted beers, says Daniel Birnbaum, CEO of SodaStream.
Note they don't say home brewed, because
Or-
there's absolutely no actual brewing
Or
going on.
craft.
Home carbonated.
It's
Home carbonated,
Isn't
yes.
it more like a malt beverage than beer?
I don't know what it is.
It's
I don't even
something.
understand how
I
this
don't-
works.
So you've
Well,
seen me use...
Pretty much
About a
Kool-Aid.
year and a half
Yeah.
ago, a camping company came out with a packet of
Right, I remember that.
basically, I don't know,
It's,
dehydrated
it's like a powder that you add water
So
to.
I assume they probably are taking a product similar to that, and then
Right.
you add it to water, carbonate it, and then you
Right.
have beer.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
You're
Like
certainly not making it. You're just
How do they have the
carbonating it.
alcohol in the powder?
And
yeah, I don't
that's
understand
that's
how
what I don't
you
understand.
dehydrate the beer
Now,
and you turn it into like how does that?
Here's the other thing too. So I've had a SodaStream for a few years now. I used to work for a
And
major.
it makes a horrendous.
It makes an annoying
noise.
sound, but that means you're ready for soda, and it's good. I like it. I mean the syrup is pretty cheap. The CO2 containers are like $15 if you recycle the old one, and you can get a lot of cool stuff in there. But one of the things to it is you can add as much or as little syrup as you want to have as thick or a light a soda as you want. So if they're going to follow that same concept with the Beer Bar, does that then mean that you can add more of the Blondie concentrate to get a higher ABV beer?
It's a very good point. You could brew the first 50% alcohol beer.
I will take that challenge.
Only in
brew.
Ohio.
You can
Oh,
carbonate.
you can carbonate.
Right.
So you can only do it in Ohio.
Yeah.
You can home craft
Only in
it.
Ohio. That's right.
Yes. SodaStream chose to first launch the Beer Bar in some of Europe's beer capitals. So the product is available in SodaStream Germany's online markets and at leading retailers in Switzerland. And other markets are expected to launch in late 2016 and early 2017.
I couldn't find how much this thing costs, though.
I couldn't see how much the actual unit cost, but liter bottles of Blondie Concentrate are selling for about €2.99, which is a little shy of about $3.50 American.
And how much beer does that yield? What did they say, 3 liters?
Yeah, 1 liter bottle of the concentrate makes 3 liters of beer.
So
which
you get
is
3
also,
liters of beer for how much did you say?
$4.
$4.
Beer.
Yeah,
Can't be
quote
good.
unquote beer.
Can't be good.
But it's also, so the ratio is a little bit different because if you get, a normal size bottle of the SodaStream syrup, you can get like 16 liters of soda out of that. Yeah. Now, here's what I found interesting, too. On a financial note, following the announcement of the beer bar, SodaStream stock reportedly rose over 5%. So I don't know what dollar amount that puts them at, but people really liked this idea, but I'm assuming the people investing don't really know much about it.
So this is like a whole
they
different...
haven't drank it yet. They just
exactly.
think it's a good
This
idea.
is like dumbing down
That's a good
home
point.
brewing to the extreme. Basically.
I'll admit I'll try it.
It's worse
if I
than
get
your
my hands
Mr.
on-
Beer, Dan.
That's the thing. How's it going to
Hey,
compare
it could
to
be
the-
good. Who knows?
Yeah.
Could be.
I want to give it a
I'm
shot
sure
first.
it's going to be better than some beers we've had.
This... okay, fair enough, yeah.
There's a lot of bad beer.
There's people out there buying that stock. I need to start selling it.
That's true. There you go.
So this is... I don't want to keep harping on this.
No,
I know you
please.
want to move on, but... so this is like a whole different apparatus. Like, you couldn't make this on your
That's the other thing I
SodaStream.
couldn't figure out because
You
it
don't
seems
know.
like it's going to be the same concept. It's a bottle of water, you screw in, you carbonate, and then you add the concentrate.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
if it's €3 or whatever, and you don't have to buy a whole new system, and you have a SodaStream, we have to try it.
It might be worth it. Yeah. So
we have to put it into bottles, put it in the
Yes.
fridge, and bring it to a podcast.
So if we know anybody in Germany or going to Germany or Switzerland, feel free to grab a bottle of Blondie.
online or
All
something.
the
Yeah.
beer made here is actually what you just described.
Oh, is that
Oh,
really? Is that
all right.
your whole? And so
It's incredible.
and that begs the question: why you need an assistant brewer?
It does
Sometimes he
indeed.
forgets.
Does Rory
Someone
just, like,
needs
hang
to
out?
push the button.
Keep up the charade.
No, that's the thing. No, if you push the button for you can't risk carpal tunnel. You have to
Exactly.
keep doing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Fingers will get worn out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other semi-local news, Yuengling, which is made at America's oldest brewery, continuously operated brewery, is set to arrive in Louisiana shortly. A representative with Crescent Crown, who distributes beer across South Louisiana, said Yuengling will be, quote, arriving soon. So,
But I love how in that sentence they had to phonetically spell Yingling in parentheses. Did you notice that?
did they? Did I
That's
just not
probably
copy that?
confusing for people who
I
haven't
probably.
seen the
Well,
word
you know.
before.
Oh, yeah. That's the next line. Yuengling, pronounced Yingling, which,
Yeah.
to be fair, a friend of mine went to Ohio before Yuengling had as wide a distribution, and he ordered a Yuengling, and they said we don't serve Chinese beer. So
That's incredibly. I don't know.
Sorry, we just call it lager.
Yeah,
We're from
that's the thing.
Pennsylvania.
We call it lager,
We call
but
it
other
lager.
parts of the country ask for a lager, you get a Sam Adams. So Yuengling, pronounced Yingling, is available in 18 other states and D.C., and the beer became available in Mississippi at the start of 2016, and it's been available in Florida for a while because they have their brewery in Tampa also.
The massive brewery in Tampa.
I haven't been to either of them.
What?
I know. I grew up in Reading, a stone's throw from where the brewery is, and I haven't been.
There's 2 breweries in Pottsville now.
What's the other one?
The other Yingling brewery. They have a new facility.
Okay.
I was
I think you thought you meant a different.
Like,
Oh, I
like,
see.
like
company, a
Pottsville. 'Cause
different-
Pottsville's not a big area, so like to say there's another one could be like, yeah, there's a craft brewery in Pottsville that's now going against Yingling, kind of.
No, it's
Okay.
another Yingling
well, there is a
just
craft
a
brewery in
facility.
Pottsville because Yuengling is technically allowed to be called a craft.
And that's the other thing, yes. Now, Yuengling has been brewing beer in Pottsville since 1829. The company website said it got through prohibition by making quote-unquote near beer with 0.5% ABV and operating on dairy, which still
making
continues.
SodaStream beer.
And making SodaStream beer. Yes, and with dairy in their ice cream line.
What if you just eat the syrup or the powder or whatever?
Oh my god.
I wondered that myself.
Yeah, like-
You know, I've
Sorry.
What happens?
I've tried a little bit of
And
this
if you
soda-
want cask beer, just mix it with water.
There you go.
yeah, regular water. I would imagine it's just like it just tastes bad. I don't know.
I imagine it tastes bad regardless of how you consume it. But
Well, let's not knock it till we try.
all right, I'm sorry. Continue.
That's basically it for that article. Yeah. So if you're going to Louisiana, you may soon be able to get a Yuengling, pronounced Yingling. Now, here's one that I like. Coming out of San Diego, Warner Brothers Studios, Sound Brewery, and Global Beverage Traders are pleased to announce a series of beer based on the massively popular video game Mortal Kombat X, which was released to consumers in 2015. The all-new beer series boasts bold flavors aimed to match the intensity and excitement of Mortal Kombat X. Consisting of a Scorpion Imperial Stout with chilies and vanilla beans, Sub-Zero Imperial IPA, and perfect mixture of hops and malt, and Raiden Imperial Saison, a Belgian-style ale that gives
Raiden's
you...
a Saison?
Yes.
That's awesome. Raiden was always my favorite character.
Raiden's a good one, because he can teleport. I always like teleportation. But it is a Belgian-style ale that gives you an electrifying blast of hops and CO2. The new series of beers inspired by Mortal Kombat X is a limited release available for shipping in 22-ounce single-serve bottles. The product produced by Sound Brewery in Washington and distributed exclusively by Global Beverage Traders. The Mortal Kombat X-inspired beer series is produced under license with Warner Brothers Consumer Products. And a little about Global Beverage Traders. They are a San Diego-based international beverage management and distribution company specializing in delivering unique, premium, innovative craft and specialty beverages to today's consumer palates.
Can you just keep the music playing for the rest of the episode?
Well... There's something else that I found when I was trying to find the theme on YouTube, because YouTube likes to have a lot of things that claim to be the original, and they're really not. And then I came across this.
Test your might. Test your might.
That's definitely the original.
Oh, just wait.
Test your might. Test your might.
Mortal Kombat! It's an a cappella version. And it actually, it gets pretty good. Don't worry, Steph, I'm not going to play the whole thing. Mortal Kombat! This is my favorite part. This is an a cappella version courtesy of the YouTube channel The Warp Zone, who are, quote, a nerdy sketch comedy, gaming, and music video channel. And they also have a cappella versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ninja Rap, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Walking Dead themes, and a bunch more. So I plan on going down that YouTube hole pretty soon, because something else has to take over Rhett and Link. I'm watching them too much.
What did you say? What was the beer that Sub-Zero had?
Sub-Zero was
CO2.
Imperial, an Imperial IPA, which is a perfect mixture of hops and malt. They
That's
say
crap. That guy should have had an Eisenbach.
That makes sense. Yes.
that would have made sense.
Definitely.
Right?
That would have made much more sense.
I don't get it.
You don't get it?
You never
never
played
played
the
that.
Ice guy.
Even I played Mortal
Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat 2, I believe. We
Yeah,
talked through this
yeah.
the other day.
I mean, they're the same characters.
I liked the one that went,
Rock Bottom Brewing in King of Prussia.
Yes.
They have a Sub-Zero IPA.
Oh,
That's
cool.
a double IPA,
Which
yeah.
is actually fantastic.
It's killer.
But the old brewer, he left there to start Sterling Pig, and I think they still make the beer at Rock Bottom. But that was fantastic IPA.
Cool.
Mortal Kombat.
So now that we've covered Mortal Kombat and video games, we are back at...
Hold on, Dan. I think we need to start this interview segment with a breaking news button.
Breaking news.
Second Story is opening a second location.
What?
Well, kind of. It's a weird thing, but
Well.
a tap room, I should call it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So what are the deets?
We
So,
need to start off with this.
Yes,
Oh,
fill
yeah.
us in.
Yeah, so basically in Pottstown, I think it's technically Pottstown, off of Route 100, it's what is legally called a tap room, where we are able to extend our license that we have here. And in Pennsylvania 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, they reinterpreted the law, of course, and changed parameters around breweries being able to open tap rooms. That's why you see Free Will and the Chamonix able to have like a bar basically within their facility. But as a result of that same reinterpretation of the law, they also extended 2 tap rooms to be allowed per brewing license in PA. Which, if you guys know Funk Brewing at all? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think Funk they have their real main brewery license, but they also have one of their tap rooms operates out of that one town.
Yeah.
And we'll be
And
operating.
I think Snitz Creek is doing the same thing, too.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I think Saucony Creek is the same way.
And Chamonix Creek is
the Chamonix opening in
one in
Fishtown.
Fishtown.
Oh, that's right. I did see that, too, yeah.
So we're going to be doing the same thing, but one of in Pottstown, one of the locations, which will be, I don't know when, I don't have a timeline on that, but the next probably month or two.
So no brewing will be done at that facility?
No, it is considered a transport, storage, and tap room facility. So it's really just our beer gets delivered there and served there. No brewing, no wine or liquors being sold there. It's just beer only. And then food. Very limited. Chips and pretzels, things like that.
These pretzels?
No.
Damn it.
Packaged pretzels.
Damn it.
You
Come on,
legally
John.
have to have food available, so it'll be like packaged,
It's like whatever you
potato
need
chips and
to
things
be able
like
to
that.
be illegal.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you're bringing the
exactly.
beer anyway, Come on, just throw some in a box.
But then it's a whole thing.
Those
with
actually
an
came out of
oven
the
and
kitchen.
stuff like that.
That took a little work right there, Steph. That's why they're so good.
But no, so that'll be soon. And we just kind of just started distribution as well. So we're kind of, those two things are happening at the same time. So suddenly, the brewing capacity here, we're going to be hopefully fully utilizing it in the next month or two here, which will be awesome.
That's really cool.
So will that location be called Second Story?
Fourth Story?
I suppose that's a good name for it. Yeah, there you go. No, it is literally an arm of us. So yeah, it's Second Story Tap Room, Pottstown, basically. We still technically have one more available, legal space we could do, but we'll see how this first one goes, and then go from there.
I'd imagine it would go over pretty well. I mean, I've seen a lot of people I talk to about this location. Nobody has anything bad to say. Everybody raves about it.
Well, except it's a pain in the ass to get to for those of us that live outside
let's not harp on that.
Well,
I would say that if you live in Philadelphia, it's really.
I ride my bike here. I take the train. I can drive. There's so many ways to get here.
Second
It's
Street
great.
L stop, super close.
Uber.
Yep. We Ubered here, and
we did.
Is there a way to get here from 30th Street Station if I take the train in? I hear the train's only $32 from Lancaster.
The subway right
Take
to
the L,
Second.
drop you off at 2nd Street.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect.
there you go.
That's what I need to start doing.
You have your next trip planned.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned distribution. That's through Bella Vista?
Correct. We are signed on now with Bella Vista for distribution. So we're not going to sell a whole lot of beer out of here. I think we'll probably top out at about 10 half barrels a week, or 20 barrels a month, basically. And the objective there is to just kind of get our beer out there and in bars and kind of get the name out there. And
is it going to be mainly Philly and the Philly burbs? How far are you going to go?
Philadelphia primarily. We kind of looked at, talked through all the bars we all personally like and want to have our beer at, and kind of picked a few, or 10 or so, that we really would target. And we've been doing that and been somewhat successful in doing that. Bars that care about beer, like the last thing I want is a bar that has a keg sitting warm for 2 weeks and doesn't care about the beer at all and just wants to make money. And I get, money's obviously the motivation there. However, if you care about the beer, you're going to still make money anyway.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
if you want bars that care about beer, you're in the right city for it.
Yes, indeed. But we also are looking at, we have actually had some beer up at, we have right now at Isaac Newton's in Newtown. So that's a bar I used to go to when I was like 22, 23. But it's a great beer bar, actually. And it's right in the middle of Newtown. So it's primarily Philadelphia bars and then Isaac Newton's.
Do you have any? Are you allowed to give any names? Can you give any names of bars you're targeting?
Yeah, for sure. So, we've released so far about 10 barrels of beer, I think, total in the last 2.5 weeks here. And it's like, Khyber Pass right down the street from us.
Oh, yeah.
Do you roll the keg down the street?
Might as well.
Technically,
Rory,
no.
roll this down
Bella Vista has to deliver the kegs.
Oh, yes, that's right. The 3-tier system.
Right. So, actually, they did indeed deliver that keg. But basically, so Khyber,
Standard,
trying to think, Standard Tap,
Local
Brenda's,
44.
Local 44 had our beer, McCrossen's, U-Bahn, which is part of Brewcraft and Worst.
Oh, yeah.
Southwark, which is a new bar. So we're really, trying to get it in good places, and the response has been good. And this, in terms of the speed at which they're able to go through the beer has been good so far. So that's the most
It's a lot of
important
great
thing.
bars picking us up.
Yeah. That's the most important thing for us, is getting in bars that we really appreciate and are proud to pour our beer out, which is cool.
Absolutely. So not to put too much pressure on you, so new tap room, distribution, any plans on any kind of packaging?
That was going to be my question.
Going on?
Well,
Pick up
actually,
some bottles,
kind
perhaps
of.
some cans.
No bottles, no really cans, but we are buying a crowler machine.
Oh,
Yes,
that's awesome.
I support
Can't
that.
go wrong with the crowler.
We just decided that yesterday, actually.
A crowler is just a can when you're really thirsty.
Correct, and we're gonna try and package it right. So we're gonna have a way to purge the cans with CO2. We're going to sanitize them, so they're going to be packaged in a way that they should last for a while.
Good.
That's the easiest way we can do packaged beer here, because we don't have any room for canning or bottling. But this allows us to kind of do a hybrid of that. It's not really a packaged product, but it kind of is. But the cool thing is, crawlers are awesome. I love them for tailgating purposes, for camping, for things like that. And there's nobody in the city doing them right now, which is I think, kind of weird.
That is, that's surprising, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah.
That's it, because they're getting much more popular. They're also very good for buying beer to go and then forgetting that you bought it because it will still be good when you remember.
If it's packaged right.
Yeah, if it's packaged right.
Yes. Hopefully it's unoxidized by the time you get to it.
Wow.
But that's why we're purging them. We're going to sanitize the cans, then purge them. So it should be a really nice packaged product.
Cool.
And you guys recently reduced the price of your growler fills as well. I saw.
Yeah,
on
we changed
Facebook.
a bunch of things around to streamline it. Instead of pricing things like differently per beer, it's really just kind of flat rate. We do charge more for like double IPAs and stuff, but we are at, I believe, 8 and 17
Right, yeah.
for most beers, and then a couple of double IPAs, barley wines, and that were at, I think, 10 and 20.
It still isn't
I
bad.
would say, I mean, you can probably go to a New Jersey distributor or something and find cheaper growlers, but and the growlers will be priced pretty much the same. So a 32-ounce growler is the same in our opinion as a 32-ounce piece of glass. So there's a cost associated with the growlers, but I think they're super cool and will make up for it in the volume of them. Because and I don't know if you guys have ever seen them, but if you see a growler being seamed on a bar top, it's like the coolest thing ever.
It is pretty cool.
It's on our Facebook
So you
page
see,
and our
we
Vine.
had a
We do a video of it, yes.
Like motivates you to want to buy a growler.
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it's
yeah,
cool
for
to
sure.
see.
What is that? I
was
want
at Village Idiot in Jersey.
And,
Oh yeah, they have one. That's
Yep.
right.
And Paradise by the Slice.
Yes.
Near
Oh, yeah, that's
us
right. They do
has
it now,
one.
too. Yeah.
That's the one on Vine.
So a pizza slice place has one.
Yeah. It's probably the place in Sinking Spring to get good craft beer.
Oh, nice, very nice. And not a single place in Philadelphia, but Paradise by the Slice has one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sinking Spring, yeah.
Trendsetters, you guys. You guys are going to be trendsetters.
That's right.
Hopefully, nobody else does it after us, so we can be the only people doing it.
The only crowler in Philly.
Well, you could say the original Philly Crowler.
The original Philly
Maybe
crowler.
you should put that on the logo.
I was just going to say, I should be at least on the crowler can. Like, it
Yeah.
should,
The original Philadelphia Crowler.
Exactly.
Nice.
So the Craft Brewers Conference was in Philly not that long ago, and
It was indeed.
you guys did an interesting collaboration beer.
We did, yeah. We collaborated with Revolution Brewing out of Chicago. So we have a GM who is kind of new to us, about 3 months. He's been here about 3 months now, and he has a lot of history with originally Goose Island, but then moving on from there. And a lot of the guys from Revolution are from Goose Island originally. So he is pretty tight with all the Revolution guys. And they came out here. We brewed an IPA together with some experimental hops. And the beer turned out awesome, and I'm kind of sad because the hops are hops we can't really get otherwise because they're experimental, and they got them from their hop purveyor, Haas. And they're not really in production for the most part. They're not even named yet. They're all just categorized by a number. But the beer turned out great, and CBC week for us was absolutely insane. It was a great week. It was more people here than we ever could have imagined.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was really, really cool. And it's all good people. It's all brewers and brewery owners and things like that. So
Anyone that you were
awesome.
really excited to meet?
I was kind of in a fog the whole week. So
Bunch of people.
You
don't
may have
remember
met
them.
interesting people you don't remember.
I was actually terrified. I mean, Rory can attest.
I was blown away at how far people were coming.
Yeah.
I mean, I was meeting people from Austria and from Colombia.
That is further than I thought you were going to
Vancouver.
say.
I mean, like, people really coming a long way. And
Wow.
it was, I mean, it was right up the street at the convention center.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
Even-
mean, most people were saying this was their first stop. It was
That's
here
cool.
or was it a bar, a Huga?
Huga, which is new, obviously.
But like those are like the two you could walk to from
Yeah.
the convention center. So
I mean, we were talking
We're getting
in
a ton of people.
February and January about the tap list for the week. It was like, oh shit, we got to
Yeah.
make sure we have this thing
Yeah.
like where we want it to be for that week specifically.
Yeah,
And
even at
we-
work, we had a lot of people that were coming through that were from. I met a couple guys from Venezuela, even, and it was cool to see everybody coming in for it. I didn't get to really talk to many people about it. How much of that did you have of that IPA?
We brewed 15 barrels.
Okay.
We sent 5 barrels out to bars for distribution. That was the first beer we distributed, which was cool because it was nice to enter the market with their Revolution beer. Revolution's a big brewery. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys know, but they're number 50 this year on top volume-wise craft breweries in the country. So they're making a whole lot more beer than we are. So that was our first beer to enter with, along with Fritzy's Lager. But that 10 barrels was gone in about 13 days, so it was quick. We went through, almost a barrel a day of that beer.
Wow.
Which is very, very fast. I mean, brewers drink a lot of beer, so.
Well,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Wednesday night we had like a release party thing with Revolution, and I I don't know. I had a whole lot. I think Rory had a
Yeah, I had a
whole
whole
lot.
lot.
too,
It was, and they had a whole big crew out too.
Yeah,
I mean, they
yeah.
were rolling like
Yeah, they had like
15
30,
deep, something like
Yeah,
that.
it was crazy. It was a really fun night, though. Really, really fun night.
So, speaking of Rory, sort of.
yeah,
How
like he's not here.
I couldn't come up with a better segue. Oh, there we go. See, every time we say your
I'll give
name,
my
we get
one
applause.
fan,
from,
yeah.
Your one fan. Hey, it's better than
Token
none.
fan.
Better than none. How long have you been at Second Story? What brought you here? Who are you, and where do you come from?
Who am I?
Who are you?
It's a good question.
Our listeners already know John, so
Let's see. All right, I've been here since November.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
he was in a fog at the
I was in
time.
a fog.
Yeah, it was,
CDC.
yeah, it was November. I'd known John for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And
Yeah, we met through our homebrew
yeah,
club.
Philly
actually.
Homebrew Outlet and the Philly
Yeah.
Homebrew Club. Great guys.
Yeah, prior to here, we just kind of always met at meetings and
Yeah,
things like that. So.
we drank a lot together.
Drank a lot
So-
there.
Okay.
But he calls me up one day and says, hey, you ever thought about being an assistant brewer? I said, yeah. He says, okay.
We had more beers.
You want to meet up and talk about it? I said, yeah, definitely.
Sure.
We went to Johnny Brenda's and knocked back pints.
That's right,
That was
yeah.
pretty much my interview.
That was your interview. Drink this. Okay,
yeah,
good.
it was good. And yeah, it's worked out pretty good ever since. I mean, John had a pretty good vision of what he wanted to do. I think I'm a little more into Belgian stuff than he is. He makes really
But
just these traditional lagers.
He
that are
brought
fantastic.
lager back,
That's
as
right.
we
Yeah.
discovered last time we were here.
That's exactly right.
Brought lager back. He was bringing lager back then. Now he's brought.
It's
Yes.
already back now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back.
it's
now,
been
yeah.
brought.
It's back. It's been brought. It's been brung.
It's been brought in.
But that's cool. A different, slightly different taste, a different angle to bring into the operation.
Yeah,
so how much?
yeah. Despite my my, despite not like just brewing pilsners and Vienna lagers and
Which are great beers.
double
by the way.
IPAs, which
Yeah.
I love. I mean, this pilsner, this is the one I go for when I come out of that mash tun at the end of the day.
That's- yeah.
And I'm just soaked. It's this or the Kolsch. That's
That
the
makes
two
sense.
I got to go for because
That
I
makes
just
sense.
need that refreshing year round. Doesn't matter.
Some Belgians aren't very refreshing.
Some are.
No, some they're not. So
Some
you
are.
drink the Pilsner to cool off, or the Kolsch.
Yeah.
And then once you're cooled off and you want to sit
Then you
down
can
and
go
like
somewhere
relax,
else.
then
Then
you
you
start
see-
sipping on the
Then it's a double
the triple
or
or
triple. Yeah.
I do right for the triple.
Double IPA or a triple. Yeah.
Yeah. But so how much creativity does John allow you to exercise? Do you
I'm almost
consult on
running the place
recipes?
at this point.
and-
John has
so
done not much to do with
he's
it
become
anymore.
unnecessary.
I don't even come here anymore. I'm not here for the podcast.
He showed up for
so-
this.
Okay.
He'll be back next week to get his check.
He just want to get his picture taken.
Well,
No, it's
good
been a
brew-
lot of fun because we bounce ideas off each other constantly, and then it's always we've got holy shit. How do we have? Can I? Curse?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
'Cause I've actually been holding it back.
That's fine.
good
No,
to know.
it's the internet.
Let it
Doesn't
ride.
matter.
Let it ride.
No, we we're like we got all this rye in the basement. Like, what can we do with this? Or it's whatever yeast strain we're working at the moment. So, last week we made that rye lager.
Yeah, golden
Just like,
rye
yeah, let's-
lager.
Let's
Nice.
do that. And he's like,
Get around.
hey, I made one of those years ago, like homebrew, right? And then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, let's definitely do that.
Yeah.
So then, it's always just give and take and just trying to, my big thing was like, okay, that's the idea, but I want it to stand out from everything else. So let's not go Fritzy's dark, but let's make sure it's not as light as the Pilsner. Let's just go push it a little bit. Let's make it a little bit stronger. Let's go 6%.
I mean, I think I personally, I have I always like a writer's block type of thing that happens.
Oh, right,
with
yeah,
beers.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is really weird. I mean, but the reality is I could always make something, but everything should have thought behind it and intention, and I seriously just fall short of being able to always have 8 or 9 or
Something,
10
yeah.
beers that are super unique
Right.
and thoughtful. So it's very helpful for me to have somebody
So essentially,
else.
you hired him because you ran out of ideas.
Yes, I was completely out of ideas. I was like, "Do you have any ideas? Because I need somebody with ideas." No, but it's very helpful to have somebody else who just different perspective. And as much as I want to brew for myself, I can't really do that all the time. So having different perspective is very important to kind of see what other people like. Because I'm making beer for everybody, not just for me to drink, obviously.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Wait, what? You brew for other people? I don't
start-
understand what that
yeah.
means.
Unfortunately,
you
that's-
start with what you want to drink, and then
Yeah. You go from
Exactly.
there. How often do you brew?
So the average is twice a week.
Okay.
So we're about 30 barrels a week. Now
course.
that number's, I don't know how it's going to change with the tap room opening. that is kind of like an unknown thing. I don't know if it's going to consume 5 barrels a week or 10 barrels a week or whatever. Distro we control, so we can say we're only going to release X number of kegs per week. But with the tap room, we kind of have to meet demand. And we actually had these big glamorous goals with distro, having Fritzy's lager available for distro all the time. And within a week, I was like, this is fucking crazy. This is worst not going to work. I can't make a 5-6 week beer.
We had like 3 batches of it going at one time. We're like, this is nuts. There's no...
So, the idea was we had to reel that in and really focus on an ale. That was a 2 to 3 week beer. And what was born out of that was a new IPA called Declaration IPA that will be always available and always distributed, and we can turn that around in about 14 days.
Oh, cool.
So, that was... it was just too much of an endeavor to say, we're going to make a lager and distribute the hell out of it.
All the time, everywhere.
20% of our tanks with lager with the same beer. It just makes no sense at all.
So that one's going to be a year-round. So do you only have 2 year-rounds then? The Fritzies and the Declaration? And then everything else rotates?
Yeah, that's correct.
We had at Saltum. It was a double IPA.
We had that last time.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was the previous flagship. So
that's gone now.
It's gone just for now.
Okay. Most recent batch kicked last week. It'll be back in about a month and a half. It's going to be a quarterly beer, pretty much. Hop availability is pretty much impossible for me to guarantee for that beer. It's Citra hop. So the idea is to bring it back quarterly, but we really are overextending ourselves to say we're going to have it all the time. But Declaration's built around hops we can definitely get.
Makes sense.
And brew quickly and not have to worry about running out of.
But I like doing the quarterly releases because you get to change things up a little bit more. And then when it comes back on, everyone's just chomping at the bit for it.
Yeah, I was here a few months ago, and I want to say, I know I had a Fritzies, and I feel like I had an Ed Sultan. Am I imagining that? It was like March.
There was another double IPA called
He's asking
Jigsaw.
you, remember what beer I had last time?
On March 10th, what did you have on tap? No.
I think I can remember. We had a double IPA called Jigsaw, which is a mosaic hopped IPA, which is coming back on tap this Wednesday.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was a really big hit, and we brought it back pretty quickly. We bring lagers back, we bring double IPAs back as well.
Nice.
And you're also barrel aging beers as well?
Just kidding. Man, both of you.
Yeah.
I'm in your head.
We're on the same page.
I'm in your head.
We don't have a lot of room, but we did buy.
We barely get to use the plural form.
Yeah.
We have
made it to plural
barrels.
We just
that's right. It's exactly
right. I guessed.
So
that's plural.
We got actually Keystone Homebrew.
Oh yeah,
is really big, great in terms of barrel sourcing. So we have the only 2 barrels we have. One is a Buffalo Trace barrel, which we have a breakfast stout aging in right now.
Nice.
And then we have a triple that has a French white wine barrel.
That's awesome.
They don't know the source vineyard of the barrel, which is weird. But we tasted it about a month ago. It's still coming along, but we'll release it when it's ready. I'm not going to force it.
Right.
I think probably sometime this summer. And then the breakfast stout, it's already beautiful, but it's going to pick up more of that whiskey flavor over the next few months. Last time you guys were here, we had a breakfast stout aged in a Dad's Hat barrel.
I was going to ask about that because I came, I think, during Beer Week or maybe shortly thereafter, and you gave me a little taster of it, and it was delicious. It was amazing.
Yeah, and that's a quick turnaround because those Dad's Hat barrels are 15 gallons. You can really get good flavor in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But for the 60-gallon barrels, it's like a 5-month, 6-month kind of turnaround. So at least to get good flavor, I'm not going to release beer that doesn't have the character we want.
Of course.
So we're going to just wait on them. It's not a big deal to kind of sit on that beer. It'll eventually go on tap.
Those Dad's Hat barrels are fantastic.
They are. They're great.
Dad's Hat, if you're listening, bring those things on straight to us.
Take all of them.
The weird thing with Dad's Hat barrels is they cost like the same as a 60-gallon Buffalo Trace barrel, and it's 1/4 of the size. So in terms of getting more for your buck, it's worth getting the larger barrels.
Right.
You can store them basically.
But it's Dad's Hat, and it's local.
Yeah.
And it's delicious.
They're great. You guys had the beer out there. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of beer.
Speaking of beer, there's a few that have magically appeared in front of us.
Beer.
So let's nope.
Hit the right button.
Shush.
You just got shushed.
This is what happens when I reorganize the soundboard. I knew it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, one at a time.
This is the
I don't think these are in the order I
Heffa?
sent to you because I'm disorganized.
Yes, it is.
They are?
Is this the heavy?
It's the
Yeah, this is
exact
the
order
Heffa.
you sent me.
Oh, good. All right, cool.
Well, in that case,
I was like a beer guardian angel watching over us.
so which one are we starting off with then?
The
With
Hefeweizen.
the Heffa
The Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen.
I did not name. I will just want to
Yeah.
clear that up. I did not. I was very much against the name.
I'd like to clarify.
It
Is
wasn't
it
me, and it wasn't Morgan, so...
Heffa
It was
Wible
Morgan. It was
Oh, it
Morgan.
was
or Heffa Vible?
Technically Heffa Bible,
Heffa Vible. Okay.
Thank you.
which El Jefe is apparently boss or something.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's with a J.
With a J, yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's real classic Hefeweizen here. Brewed with malted wheat and Pilsner, really lightly hopped, and then a classic half strain. Fermented quite warm to kind of drive off some of that cloviness and bring out more banana. There is still clove. I mean, we didn't suppress it completely, but it is primarily banana and less
Yeah,
clove.
it's a subtle characteristic to it.
And it has the acidity on it as quite nice. It's pretty kind of tart, but it's clean. It's not it's not sour or anything, but it has a lower
Yeah,
pH.
it's a little
than most
easier to
beers.
drink than a lot of Hefeweizens.
The funny story about this beer is we put it on tap, and we don't have hef glasses here. So we had talked about buying hef glasses, and we're like, we don't have any place to store them, so maybe next time. So we decided to put them in English, just our regular English style Nonic pint glasses. And the first night it was on tap, some German guys came in and gave the bartender like a whole bunch of shit about the glass selection.
no.
So we immediately switched them to our lager style glasses, which is still not correct, but it's at least closer.
Better off, yeah.
to a proper hef glass.
What shit luck, huh?
Yeah,
really.
no. Maybe there's like leftover guys
Yeah.
from CBC or something.
Because not a whole lot of people would have cared, but
They came here for CBC and they just stayed.
Yeah, just hanging out for a while.
never left.
No, I'm the one that bitches. You're serving me a Hefeweizen in a pint glass?
As long as it gets to my liver, I'm okay.
Oh, it's a different experience.
Depends where you are.
I tend to agree with that. However,
Yeah.
we don't have any room for them. You can't have like Kolsch glasses, Hefeweizen glasses, wit beer glasses.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's a lot of
Depends where you
glassware.
are, what you expect. I mean, sometimes proper glassware is a nice little perk. You know,
We try to do it. We have 4 styles of glassware here. I can't have 10, but
Yes, you can.
I'd rather have more beers, less styles of glass. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go with that. That's fine.
So yeah, drink's really nice. It's it is like I said, the pH is a little bit lower than most beers. A little bit acidic, but very refreshing. Banana forward.
I love the
Fairly
banana.
dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice beer. Beer you can kind of like after a hot day of cleaning the mash done. It's perfect.
Yeah, and it's got a nice that slight tart from the acidity that actually complements the banana really nicely.
Which is this is the first time I've used this strain of yeast actually in particular, and I was surprised by the acidity that it kind of drove. So it's it's actually a nice compliment to the style.
It is. It makes it a little more crisper, a little more summer-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only problem with
Summer
E.
it kind of drives off the head on it. Unfortunately, that's the only issue with the acidity of it.
I like the color of it. I really like it.
You know, I'm a little nervous about the so the color is good
very
now,
light,
but
yeah.
I bet you in about 2 more weeks, if it's still on tap, the yeast is going to continue to drop out, and people are going to be giving us shit because it's not cloudy enough.
Yeah, it'll be clear.
Which
In
is
the
funny.
wrong
'cause
glass,
we get shit
it's
for
too clear.
IPAs being too cloudy. So
Yeah.
it's like, what the fuck do you want, man?
You can't win. You can't win. Well, regardless, right now it's delicious, whatever glass it's in.
That's very true.
We'll just hook up the CO2, we'll blow the standpipe out, they'll
Blow
be
some more
satisfied.
yeast into it or something. Yeah.
Fine.
I can give you my soda stream if you
There we
want.
go.
Oh,
Problem
perfect.
solved.
That's great. Yeah.
Problem solved.
15 barrel soda stream.
All right. Let's get on that.
We should have a little dry pack of yeast behind the bar. Like, oh, sorry, sir.
Here you go.
Dump it in the cup. There you go.
Let me top you
Very
off.
cloudy.
How's that?
So if I've heard correctly, this is Pressure Drop,
Pressure drop indeed, yes.
which is the American Pale.
Correct, and I would go on record here. I don't really have the privilege of naming any beers anymore, which is really sad. I'm not creative enough. I would just call them all pale ales.
You
and
could hire
IPAs and
Wayne.
stuff. Are you in the looking for a job?
Sure, why not? Always.
So Pressure Drop is an APA brewed with lemon drop hops.
Which you
Sorry,
can
which
smell.
I just
No,
got.
you're
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh.
No, it's so lemon drop. The first time I've ever used them before, and Motueka, which has like a lime character, like crushed lime character.
Oh.
So
Ooh.
in my head, I was like, "Oh, lemon lime. That's kind of a cool combo of flavors, you know." And it actually worked really well. It kind of comes through very nicely, I think. And it's delicate in terms of like the hop character, but it's very much like apparent. I think really
As you keep drinking it, like, we might not get it on the little tasters, but as you keep drinking it, that lime pithy flavor, there's a bitterness that comes in there. That's fantastic.
The pithy is perfect. It's more of that bitter, pithy side of citrus than the citrus you're used to when you use it to describe a beer. Usually, it's that bright grapefruit and orange note, but this is
definitely like lime.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
This is fantastic.
Really quenching beer. Yeah.
I'm getting the lemon up front and the lime in the back, which is really cool.
And that's what I'm saying. Is you drink a pint, and when you get to the tail end of it, the lime starts taking.
Yeah,
over.
It takes all that at the end. Oh man, this is really, really good. I don't think I've had anything like this.
Yeah, lemon drop I think is my first use with it, but it's fantastic. Nice hop for a pale ale. You know, it's just really.
Oh yeah.
It's
So we just lemon drop and what's the new one we did?
Yeah, we brewed on Thursday.
Oh, we did that wheat beer with lemon drop and
kind of similar vein to this
Equinox.
APA Equinox and lemon drop. Yeah. So that'll be cool. It'll be tropical, but have that kind of lemon character, crushed lemon character. Lemon drop's hard to find. Weirdly, it's like a very hard hop to find, even though it's not very popular. I think it's hard to find.
See it much, but
no,
I know Yards used it once.
Yeah, it's a lot of one-off batches.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot.
But I'm a big subscriber to Lupulin Exchange. I buy most of my hops from, and I get alerts in my email. And if I see an alert for a hop I want, I run like hell to the computer to buy it.
I love the idea of getting hop alerts.
It's like a
I just love the way
that's
you said
what it takes these days. That's where we're at.
It's a part of my life.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. This is really
If he hadn't gotten an alert, we would have just made this with Cascade. That's real talk.
Would not have been the
fucking
same.
terrifyingly accurate comment.
Well, I mean,
It would have been a 100%
I'm not saying it would have been
different
bad. I'm just saying it would have been a Cascade.
It adds a nice little touch to it.
It's everything is art and science, but it's really art, science, and business.
It would have been a
sell the beer.
C-hopped pale ale. Otherwise. No, actually, honestly, that site has given us great access to hops we otherwise would not really be able to use or have access to easily. So even though we overpay for things often, I am okay with that because it's worth the extra 10-20% to have access to Mosaic and things like this. So
Right. Rather than saying, well, these are the beers I got to make because these are the hops I can get. Yeah.
I don't want to succumb to that idea of just like, oh, we have to use Centennial and Cascade because they're available.
Right.
That's kind of like not interesting to me at all.
Yeah. Well, now if you see this one do really, really well, do you think, even though if access is limited and the price is going to be high, do you think you would do it again?
In the last 6 months, we've done a lot more of rebrewing beers. I don't know the reason for that, other than the fact that maybe we're making better beer in the last 6 months than we ever have. That's probably true. But yeah, that's accurate. And Jigsaw is a good example of that. This Pilsner is a good example of that. This Pilsner was brewed originally about back in January, I guess. We had it on tap, then brought it right back. And we actually didn't have the hops for it. Sly Fox helped us out and sold us a 44-pound box of hops for this beer to be made, which is super cool for them to do that. But yeah, no, I think that we're kind of honing in on maybe what we want in our styles. And we'll always have new beers, of course, but there certainly are beers I'm very happy with and want to rebrew more often now than ever before.
Right.
Sort of settled in, hit the stride.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
But there's something to having something new on tap all the time.
Right.
And you make we knew Jigsaw was one of the best beers that we'd ever made. We
Jigsaw
loved it.
was
It
an
blew
accident,
out.
which is hilarious.
It was an accident. But
We actually just used all the malt we had on hand to make a double IPA.
I love
Which
when
wound
that
up being
happens.
heavy Vienna malts and a little touch of Munich and Pilsner. But really, it's all about the hops in that beer, and it's heavily Mosaic hopped. And if you guys know anything about Mosaic hops, they kind of really dominate the palate, and in a good way. It's not a bad thing. But the point is that it was like a beautiful, arrangement to have all this run out of malt basically, and just use what we have on hand.
Just to
make this.
Just
stuff.
throw it in, whatever we got.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't that we were at Golden Avalanche? They had a smoked beer. It's because they had 2 bags of smoked malt just lying around that they needed to use, and they ended up making a really good smoked beer.
Was that no?
I forget what it was called.
I was thinking the Dutch, but that was with a Hair Dutch.
Her Dutch. No, it was something else, but it was very good. So Happy Accidents. That's
So cheap good ale.
Yes, the Snitz Creek beer. they made for the Olympics. They were trying to make something else, and I guess the yeast died like halfway through fermenting, and like the beer, but it was really good. And they were
halfway fermented great beer.
Yeah, and it was really good, and they were like, well, it never happened again because we have no idea how to recreate what happened.
How do we kill our yeast halfway through fermentation?
Like it just happened to turn out good.
It just happened to turn out good.
And we were there and we had it.
Exactly.
There's
another beer that made its way around the table.
Next
Which
beer
one
is the Cobblestone Kolsch. Once again, the name is not from me, but it does reflect the building here. If you look out front, of course, is cobblestone streets.
That you have to drive 15 miles per hour down.
Correct.
So you destroy your car.
Exactly. We were pulling up in the Uber.
I'm claiming this name, by the way. This was
no, that's the Rory name, actually.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Cheers. Morgan had the last two. This one's mine.
That's right. So if you guys are at all familiar with Kolsch, in my opinion, there's a lot of bad Kolsch out there. If you guys have ever had Victory Kolsch, it is, I think, fantastic. It's very floral.
Probably have.
It's
of course, it's fantastic. It's from Victory.
Yeah, I mean, those guys crushed German-style beers. So the idea here was to have very kind of bright Pilsner background, but to have a very floral character. So we used a hop called Wakatu, which is a New Zealand hop, but it's derived, its parent is Hallertau. So it has the heritage of these German noble hops. And Wakatu has just these beautiful like lime and floral characteristics. So that comes through. It's not dry hopped or anything. It's just really late kettle editions of Wakatu. And what you're left with is this like very floral, kind of fruity from the warmer fermentation of Kolsch beer. It drinks again, of course, like stereotype, like a lager, but also like an ale. We lager it for 2 weeks after about a 10-day fermentation total. And it's just like a hybrid somewhere between like a Pilsner and like a blonde ale, right? So it turned out really well, and I think we're going to actually probably rebrew this in the next couple of weeks here. Maybe with Wakatu, maybe with a different hop variety, but same overall objective, right? Really floral, forward, not very bitter, but just very crisp and pale, and try to be as authentic as possible, basically, without... but with modern day hops like Wakatu or something. Maybe we'll use Hallertau, I don't know, but whatever we can get our hands on to kind of match this thing.
Absolutely. I just want you to keep saying Wakatu. It's a fun word.
It's a very weird word. I agree with that. It's a very strange word.
It's very good, very drinkable, very, very, like you said, floral, very interesting character.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you get. Floral up front and crisp in the back, and that's perfect.
I think a lot of Kolsches you see out there today are really just like ales that are fermented cooler, with maybe American strains or something, and not really treat it like a Kolsch. And I really think, and I don't really know the answer to this because I've never really been to Germany or Cologne, but
you can ask Steph.
The floral qualities are very important in my opinion in a Kolsch, and that's how Victory does it, so that's how I stand by that answer.
And Victory does usually respect the style.
Correct,
And
especially
stick to
for
the tradition.
those types of styles.
We've had a couple of good beers so far, and I feel like we should have a little bit of fun.
I think we should.
We should have a little bit of fun.
Turn up the volume.
Would we say a little bit of happy fun?
A little bit of happy fun.
Yeah, a little bit of happy fun.
I thought we were having fun.
Now we're going to have happy fun.
We're having this kind of fun now.
Yes. As we welcome the internet to another edition of Happy Fun Time Games, the only podcast trivia segment that is worth at least twice its weight in fried pickles. Longtime listeners will remember that back before we became staunch squid rights activists, Dan would close each episode with a carefully curated beer quote.
Until I couldn't find any more.
Until you ran out. So, to bring back a little bit of that Beer Busters nostalgia today, we are playing a game all about beer quotes that I call Potation Quotations.
So basically, I'm not allowed to get these wrong.
No, there are two quotes on here that I for a fact know that you used to close out podcast episodes like 2 years ago.
Pressure.
So, I don't remember 2 days ago.
You're not going to remember. That's why I included them, because I was confident that you would not.
Because we never remember.
So how it's going to work is I'm going to give you 2 names and 2 quotes, and you're going to tell me which person said which quote. So I've got a couple of sets of pairs of quotes. So we're going to start to my left with Dan. And
here goes nothing.
These quotes are either from Sid Vicious
Nice.
or Stephen King.
Wow.
Quote number 1 is, "I've only been in love with a beer bottle and a mirror." And quote number 2 is, "A man who lies about beer makes enemies."
Okay. I think I have it.
Number 1, number 2.
So,
number 1, I've only been in love with a beer bottle, Sid Vicious or Stephen King?
Sid Vicious.
Dan saying Sid Vicious for the first one, Stephen King for the second. Steph, what do you think?
I'll say Sid Vicious is the first one.
All right, another Sid Vicious, Stephen King. Rory?
Sid Vicious was in love with a beer bottle.
Sid Vicious was in love with a beer bottle. And
more
finally,
importantly, a
John.
mirror.
Rory sounds very confident here, so I'm going to go with his answer.
Okay, fair enough. That's always
What he said.
one of the keys to happy fun time games. Is the person before you sounds like they know what they're talking about. You should follow their lead,
Rory
and it
knows
works.
a lot of shit about pop culture and stuff, so...
All right.
I
A
know
lot of
nothing.
shit about nothing.
He has a lot of shit about stuff that doesn't matter. Everybody is correct. Yes,
Half the reason he hired me.
Sid Vicious was only in love
The
with
only reason.
a beer bottle and a mirror, and Stephen King said, "A man who lies about beer makes enemies." Steph's going to go first on our next one, and these two quotes are either from Ernest Kermit the Frog, no, Ernest Hemingway, or Frank Sinatra. The first quote is, "I feel sorry for people who don't drink. When they wake up in the morning, that's as good as they're going to feel all day." And quote number 2 is, "Always do sober what you said you'd do drunk. That will teach you to keep your mouth shut." One is Frank Sinatra, and one is Ernest Hemingway.
I believe the first one is Sinatra.
All right, Steph saying Frank Sinatra for the first, Hemingway for the second. Rory, what do you think?
Always do sober. What you said you do drunk is definitely Hemingway.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, which would make the first one Frank Sinatra. And John, what do you
I'll
think?
reverse that. Hemingway first.
You're going to flip it around and reverse it? However the song goes. Fucking only dead. Sinatra and Hemingway.
Sinatra was 1, Hemingway was 2.
Frank Sinatra's 1, Hemingway was 2. You are correct.
Oh, fuck off,
As
guys.
is everyone except John.
That's what you get for fucking doubting me.
I went to Key West last summer. Hemingway was there. You guys are fucking wrong. It's all bullshit.
I don't care. I call bullshit.
This is bullshit.
And both of those quotes, Dan, I believe, were used
I recognize them both.
in previous episodes. Well, I'm glad you got that one right. Okay, we're moving on to our third and final set of quotes of the game. It's a short one today, guys. So these last 2 quotes are either from Jack Nicholson or Humphrey Bogart. And we'll start with Rory. The first quote is, "The problem with the world is that everyone is a few drinks behind."
Damn straight.
Quote number 2 is, "Beer, it's the best damn drink in the world." One is Nicholson, one is Bogart.
I'm going to say one is Bogart.
Okay, Humphrey Bogart for the first, Nicholson for the second. John, what do you think?
Nicholson is number 2 there.
Jack Nicholson is number 2, making Bogart number 1. All right, Dan.
Bogart was 1, Nicholson was 2.
All righty,
I concur.
everybody saying the same thing.
That's
Except
right.
John.
Because
I knew that.
I used that Nicholson quote
I knew
also.
the Nicholson quote, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that one.
I even knew that.
Nice job for remembering something.
Everybody is correct.
I only remembered it because I said it.
Jack Nicholson was best damn drink in the world. Bogart was everyone is a few drinks behind. So that was a pretty short and sweet version of Happy Fun Time Games.
I like
little,
that game.
Little experiment,
That
trying
was
something
a
different.
3-way tie, right?
You know what we call that on this podcast?
I like
No, what do you call it?
We call it a German sparkle party. With 3 points apiece each, Dan, Steph, and Rory. And unfortunately, John, the only one who got
don't
anything
really-
wrong.
We don't really have a winner.
No, we have something even
We
better.
just have 3 non-losers.
A German sparkle party is better than a winner.
Yes, I agree.
Always. And
There was going to
you
be some beer questions, man. This is bullshit.
beer was involved.
This is bullshit.
Loosely. And this bullshit was brought to you in part by Patreon.
Yes, it was.
If you want to become a patron for Beer Busters, you can go to patreon.com/beerbusters and donate a couple of bucks to us each time we release podcasts and get cool behind-the-scenes perks. Once again, a shout-out to our most generous patrons. Still have yet to be joined or unseated, Wolfgang von Colt and Victoria Miles.
Yay!
Very good friends of the show.
Yep, and I'll see them tomorrow.
And our top patrons, and Steph will see them tomorrow. So somebody else needs to get their name up there, guys. I mean, we'll take smaller donations, but if you really want to be the cool kids,
You wanna be the cool kids.
You got to donate it to get your name on the podcast level. So
Yeah.
get to it.
Yeah. Let's get on that. Well, I feel like we need to bring an educational aspect into this, so we're going to do this.
No.
Your beer.
No. Know your beers.
Steph, what do we got?
I'm changing it up today.
She's not going to say anything.
I was waiting for my music. First of all, this is the first official episode where Wayne is not doing this scatting or whatever.
This is not live, people. I can actually talk while this is going on.
So, Dan, With all the beer fest coming along this summer, I put together a nifty top 10 list of my personal must-dos before going to a summer beer fest.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Now, are you going to
ready?
be doing them in descending order, like number 10, and then...
No, they're in the order in which I thought of them,
Okay. I will also take that,
which I feel like is a really logical list.
all right.
Because you know how my brain works perfectly.
unfortunately. Anyway.
Number one.
Number one.
Eat before you go. While many beer fests have top-notch food vendors on site during the event, you will inevitably want to spend the start of the fest at the beer tables trying those must-have beers before the keg kicks. To prevent premature drunkenness, be sure to eat a hearty breakfast that's sure to hold you over until you've enjoyed those critical beers. Number 2, bring a bag. Girls, I recommend a cross-body bag. Guys, try a drawstring backpack. Whatever you choose, a bag is helpful to store swag, as well as those just-in-case items you'll want to bring along. Number 3, prepare for the weather. Let's face it, we can't always trust the weather forecast. One of the best and worst parts of summer festivals is being outside. To make most of any weather situation, throw in a hat, sunglasses, and a bottle of sunscreen into your bag, and consider a small umbrella, or even better, a dollar store plastic poncho in case it rains. And please,
And if it doesn't rain, you can vomit in the poncho.
Sure. Don't be one of those annoying fest attendees that huddle under a vendor or brewer tent in order to get away from the sun or rain. Let them have their space. Number 4, don't go dead. That's right, bring a fully charged phone and throw a portable cell phone.
Your phone.
And throw a portable cell phone power bank as a backup. You certainly don't want to miss any untapped check-ins or selfie opportunities. This is a great time to insert a bonus tip. Don't rate your beers during beer fests. Drinking a 3-ounce sample of beer is not enough to truly judge the beer objectively, so don't carelessly rate beers based on a small sip.
If I can, so are you suggesting don't check it in or don't
Totally
rate
agree
the
on
check-in?
that.
Check it in, just don't rate it.
If you take so much as a sip, you're allowed to
Bullshit.
check it in.
You need to, I honestly believe if you're going to rate it, you need to have a full pint before you can truly rate a beer.
Music
I agree
to my
with.
ears.
Yes.
I can't stand the fucking 1.5 ounce pour check-in.
I had a
bullshit.
sip, 1 star. Really?
Yeah.
Number 5.
Sorry.
Should we let John go on his soapbox?
Sorry.
If you want
Pass
to
the mic to John.
if you ever want to ruffle a brewer, just mention Untapped.
That's great.
That's all you got to do.
Number 5, hydrate. Some fests will allow you to bring water, and if that's the case, make sure you do. Hydrating throughout a beer fest will
And
not
if they
only
don't
make
let
you
you
feel
bring
better.
it, sneak it in because they're bastards.
I know.
and-
Either
I
that or they
agree.
will probably have water coolers around, too.
Or they will offer free water, which is great. But drinking water will not only make you feel better during the fest, but the morning after the fest as well. Number 6, pace yourself. Seriously. Taste the beer, don't chug it.
Yep.
Enjoy the beer. It is not a race.
I've made that mistake
Dan,
so many times.
I've witnessed your mistakes.
And one was recent.
Number 7, stay clean. I recommend throwing a travel pack of Clorox wipes in your bag. This can help with spills, cleaning your tasting mug, and dealing with portable toilets. Number 8, plan ahead. If the festival organizers post the list of breweries or beers on the event page, be sure to plan out which beers are your must-haves and make a game plan before heading to the fest. Planning ahead will make sure you are not disappointed when your favorite beers kick. Number 9, wear a pretzel necklace, especially if the fest doesn't allow outside food. Come on, people, it's jewelry, not food. And pretzels are great for cleansing your palate between beers. Finally, bring cash and support the local vendors. You can purchase some unique items and support local businesses at Beer Fest.
Especially if there's a podcast there selling T-shirts.
We highly recommend a We Should Beer shirt.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Also, sometimes there's a food truck that has Oreo-crusted chicken sandwiches.
Yeah,
I don't
you can
remember the name
buy
of that food truck,
after
but
you
God
buy your We Should Beer
damn,
shirt.
was that good? Yes, we
So
should
there you
beer.
go. My top 10 pieces of advice for attending a summer beer fest.
Very sound advice.
I've attended enough that I should know.
I've made a bunch of those mistakes a few times. Now, the pretzel necklace, we probably should clarify that it's not, like, ornamental. Pretzels, like real pretzels,
No,
not
yeah,
like...
you eat them.
Because somebody out the's going to be like, oh, I bought this ceramic pretzel necklace.
Who
and
sells ceramic pretzel necklaces?
I don't know.
Very weird.
What fucking country are you from?
Our listeners are
Kind of
smarter
a
than
bizarre
that.
thing. I tried to eat my pretzel necklace. It was ceramic. Well,
I don't feel so good anymore.
yeah, you should probably stop going to beer fest.
Do I have seconds?
I thought you were going to say like hard pretzel or soft pretzel. I had no idea
I
where
think
you were
it's the
going.
mustard.
I can edit in me asking hard pretzel or soft pretzel if you want.
No, that would sounded more intelligent than ceramic pretzel.
Yeah, all right. Well, all right. I'm gonna. Well, I'm gonna do this.
Round 2, fight.
Let's forget my stupidity and
All
drink.
right. All right.
All right, moving on.
Moving
What do
on,
you
we've
guys
got a couple of beers that magically appeared in front of us and may or may not have been spilled by an iPad. But we are starting with, if I'm not mistaken, the New World Crusher.
think? Yes, the New World Crusher, indeed.
This is the New World Wesley Crusher.
No.
Okay.
That's a. Also,
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
So
That's good.
Crusher is a beer that kind of happened organically. We brewed a beer in January called the Pacific Rim Crusher, which is, you think about that and do your own interpretation of that. Made with all New Zealand hops. And I was at an event, and people love saying crush me and crush and all this kind of shit. So I thought, oh, cool. Like,
What kind of event were you at?
Stupid shit.
the Fuge, actually.
that sounds about right.
Very good event at the Fuge. And so the idea was to take that same malt profile and base and hop it differently and make new beers out of that and call them Crusher Series beers, right? So this is the fourth one we've done. We'll probably do about 6 and then start repeating again. But Rory and I were talking about this, and we kind of were like joking, like, oh, fucking, we could just put like Mosaic and Citra, Mosaic, Citra, Motueka. It's kind of like you can't really fuck up the beer if you use those hops, right? So that was, and I'm saying that in jest kind of, but also like, yeah, you really, if you put those hops together, they're pretty fucking dynamite, right? Any order, doesn't matter, yeah.
It's gonna work.
So it's all New World hop varieties, as some people call them. So that's why we call it New World Crusher. But the idea with the base beer is 4.8, 4.9%, Pilsner and flaked oats, and then just layers and layers and layers of hops. So we started with Pacific Rim, which is a Motueka and I think Wakatu hops. And then now we've progressed at this point on to this current iteration, which is the New World Crusher. And probably one of my favorites yet. And this one's a little bit different here. So you guys are all familiar with boat beer, carton boat beer?
Yeah, carton.
So carton boat is fermented out with Kolsch yeast, which is pretty, unusual or different, I should say, I guess, from traditional IPA session IPAs. But really nice. Has like a really crisp kind of character that you lose when you use like an English style or American strain. You get a lot more freeness in those strains. But we made the cobblestone. We had the yeast on hand, so we used it to do this beer and see how it worked. And we basically fermented a cooler, about 60 Fahrenheit, and then we lagered it for 2 weeks after dry hopping. And I think the character in this is very good. And I think that in terms of like a summertime warm weather beer, hits all the spots I want, right? It's very hoppy. You smell it. It's intense. But it also is dry. It finishes very dry. It's very crisp and kind of it's a beer you can, it's 75 degrees out. You're outside all day. You come home. This thing has so much character, but it's not full of alcohol. Yeah. That's really what we're going after.
And it's got, like, it is intensely hoppy. It's a little citrusy, a little dank. But it's, with all that intense hop flavor, it's still something you drink on a hot day. Like, it's not like suffocating. It is crisp. It finishes dry.
It's because it finishes dry. I think that's
really
what I like out of it most, because you get...
It's like a lawnmower dank IPA.
Yeah, you get the hoppiness that you probably want out of something like that, but then it doesn't stick around, which is why on a hot day I don't normally go for something with this kind of hop characteristic to it.
Right. No, I think
However, it would be better
Oh, if there were peppers in it?
No, come on.
if it was in a can.
Oh, or a crowler.
Okay, it'd be good in a
I'm
can.
just saying.
Crowler. Yes.
True. I could drink it straight
In a crowler.
from the
Actually,
You could drink a whole crowler and it would be okay.
interesting note to the pepper thing. I had suggested that we made a firkin tonight with jalapeno or habanero, and our GM shot me down and said, we can't sell that much.
Where's your GM?
hot pepper here.
Steph
and I
would have
need to
drank it
have a
all.
We'll bring him up
discussion.
here and we'll stone him.
That's right.
Oh, right.
Steph would buy the whole firkin.
Probably.
That was my idea, was to do a habanero version of this or another beer we have coming out.
That's pretty tame.
tonight.
Yeah, all the cool
Habaneros
kids
in
are doing
this?
it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Freehold did it.
did Wayne
like,
just
opening
say-
tap years ago?
I'm saying, like, it's
good.
not like crazy ghost
Well,
pepper,
Safe word is
scorpion,
amazing.
fucking fires of hell peppers at Steph.
Oh, wait till you see the
Fires of
stuff I
hell.
planted this year in the
I'm
Oh,
sure.
God.
What's up next?
I think we have Declaration IPA.
I think Rory is taking over the show. I love it.
Indeed we do. This beer was made, in keeping with the theme of distribution and talking earlier about how foolish it was to kind of say we're going to distribute a lager at all times, we decided to swap out our double IPA at Sultan with this beer, which is called Declaration. It's comprised of hops we know we can get. I will tell you that it's going to evolve over the next 2 or 3 months here. Right now, this batch, the first batch, it is on par with or the most hops per barrel we've used. That might not seem apparent because a lot of these are real low alpha acid hops, like not low alpha, but Centennial, Chinook, Azaka, and Columbus. So what you get with this, trying to build layers of flavor, and what you have is citrus pith, of course, and grapefruit. You also get dank qualities from the Columbus. But what we're going to do is kind of reincorporate some Amarillo for that Centennial and bring in some tropical character and make this really our flagship IPA that we always have on tap here, but also always have available for distribution. So the core beer of this, or malt profile, is Pilsner, light caramel. We use about 5% dextrose in this beer, which you do for most of our IPAs and double IPAs to help dry it out. But then layers and layers of flavor with the hop additions, and they're all late hops. They're all 10, 5, and Whirlpool additions to really add aroma, character, and then it's dry hopped at a rate of about 1.5 pounds per barrel to really just add aroma to the beer. So again, always available is the goal here, and always distributed to local accounts that we kind of want to work with. And our flagship IPA, one that we can be proud of, and always say we can always have it on. We can't really guarantee that with the double IPA at Sultan.
The first thing that struck me, and maybe this is because Steph spilled some of the barley wine into it. I don't know if that had some sort of effect.
No, this spilled into the barley wine.
Into the barley wine.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is unsullied.
This is unsullied, which means it's had its penis
kick
cut
all
off.
your ass.
Nobody here watches Game of
This
Thrones.
is bullshit.
Right? Anyway, no, it's got a very creamy mouthfeel, which I was not expecting.
I think that's
Are there oats in this?
no oats. No, it's all barley. We really manipulate water pretty heavily here, and with this beer and all of our IPAs, really, we're ramping up chlorides and in that beer and this beer. So the idea is to, if we don't do that, we're going to really accentuate bitterness. And if with the amount of hops we're adding here, we can't really not do that without it being too bitter. So the idea is to ramp up the chlorides and to accentuate the maltiness to allow that hop flavor and hop aroma to come through without being too bitter, basically. And you notice that with all of our beers, they're heavy on chlorides in terms of the salt additions to water. So we manipulate all water is manipulated heavily for all the beers we do here. We don't really just take what we have and run with it. And I think that. I'm happy you pointed that out because that's totally accurate.
Yeah, it was the first thing that struck me.
It reminds me of a Jolly Rancher.
A little bit, yeah, like a hoppy Jolly Rancher.
Yeah,
they should make a hops Jolly Rancher.
Hop Jolly Rancher. I like
they
that
do.
a lot.
You've never had a hops candy?
Not a Jolly, official.
No.
I've never had a hops candy.
But it's like a Jolly Rancher.
I'm aware that they exist, but I didn't. Yeah,
It'll be the next SodaStream one.
Or Jelly Bellies, hops.
Yeah,
Jelly Bellies?
I was thinking Jelly Belly.
Oh my god,
They make beer Jelly Belly.
They do. They have
get-
draft beer Jelly Belly.
Yeah.
I've had that before.
hop flavored
not very
and
good.
malt flavored Jelly Bellies from different
And you combine
varieties, and you could test.
like Kent Golding Jelly Belly,
Yeah.
Cascade,
Exactly, yeah.
Caramel 40,
A
and
little
Pilsner.
hurry.
Start training the kids
Just what
young.
craft beer drinkers need. Something else.
Start training the kids
at
real
calories.
young. Get them identifying all the
Exactly.
new world stuff.
You want to be a brewer when you grow up? You can start by pairing
your
jelly
jelly
beans.
beans.
Your box of jelly beans.
You start coming up with recipes when you're like 6 years old. Like, oh, this would be good.
Got to start them young.
I don't know. I thought it was a good idea. Whatever.
That's good. Very good idea.
Sure.
It's a great idea. I
So,
don't
yeah.
know if it's going to stick against the wall.
I hope
Yeah.
the intent with this beer is to really have it out in the market and have people recognize the name and the brand that they want to come down here, and drink it. That's the plan. Hopefully, it all goes according to plan. But I think what you'll see is an evolution of the beer in terms of making it something we really can be proud of. And I think that what you're going to see in the next batch is bringing in some Amarillo and some different hop varieties to bring in some tropical character. I can't say it's going to be Citra, Mosaic, and things like that because we can't get those hops, but Amarillo is something we can probably get enough of to make that happen.
I got to say, last time we were here, we raved about how awesome you were at making lagers, and you still are. But this time, what struck me is the awesome things that you guys are doing with hops.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you really
No, I
seem
agree.
to be like this
It's a really
whole
good
episode
point.
has been like using hops at the best that you possibly can for each style that we've had.
I think, like, if you look at what I personally drink, it's hoppy beers and lagers, and kind of in between, we touch saisons, and we have barley wine on and Kolsch, but really at the core of it, I love lagers and I love hop-forward beers, right? And that doesn't mean pale ales or IPA. It's just hop-forward beers. The hop character is shining, and we do a lot of that here. I think probably 5 to 6 of our beers on tap are always hop-forward and or lagers at any given time, right? So we're honing in on that. I think we're doing a good job of kind of trying to showcase that. I think that your point it makes me happy to hear that you're kind of saying that. But that's true. I mean, it's really... And with Lupulin Exchange and things like that, we've been really successful in getting these hops that we otherwise can't secure, right? So it's been very helpful for us to do that.
So you can, so now you have to put them to use.
There's so many exciting hops coming out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting to use things that haven't even been named yet.
Yeah.
They just
That's
have a
always cool,
number. And it's we just ordered more,
Yeah.
yesterday?
Yeah,
And
CBC, we ordered a bunch of hops. I did. And Rory was like, what did we order there? And I was like, this and 80A, AHA, 484. He's like, what's it taste like? I was like, I have no fucking idea, but I ordered some, so we'll
It's a
have it.
number, so
And
I ordered it.
We'll play around with it and see what happens.
But there's
you know?
all this really exciting stuff coming out, and it's.
that's cool,
I mean, it's interesting where it's not necessarily. I mean, when you're dealing with a hop that hasn't really been tested yet, it's just if you know how to use it, if you understand some basic stuff about it, alpha acids, beta acids, and you have your system down and throw it in there, see what comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we
I don't
do
think
a
we've
lot
had
of
one yet that really bummed us
wrong,
out or
yeah.
anything like that.
exploration. Is probably the best.
They're all different, but it's been fantastic. It's really exciting every time.
So this raises a point, and I don't know if we ever talked about this before, but so when you have these experimental hop varieties, who gets to come up with a name? Like if they get named?
I think the grower, So there's a hop we used for the third generation of the crusher called we call it Perpetua Crusher. But what it was an Idaho farmer who grew this hop variety. He's calling Idaho number 7, which is really the most boring name in the world. That's what he's calling it.
At least it's pronounceable.
It's a great
true.
hop, though, and Sierra Nevada used it here last
Matualaka.
year. Yeah, it's not quite as difficult as Motueka or whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, it's the grower, I think, who really establishes the name, the breeder of the hop.
Or sometimes it's inspired by the hops that are combined to make the new hop.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably
and
The lineage,
Aren't
sometimes.
some of them trademarked? The name?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Citra,
Right, yeah.
Mosaic,
Simcoe.
Yeah.
Amarillo, I believe, is a wild hop that was domesticated, but it also is indeed trademarked, the name. I mean, it's very important to kind of take that name and make it your own because that's as important as anything else is, right?
I want there to be an experimental hop that becomes widely used, like Citra or any of the big C American hops or something like that. But it keeps the number name, and it's just always known by the number. Everybody's like, "Oh, this has B375 in it. That's a really good hop."
Idaho 7's probably the closest thing to
yeah.
that at this point, and I don't think that name is changing as far as I know.
Yeah, that's probably keep
It's
that.
Idaho.
It is
They
kind of a
should.
boring name, but I approve.
It's probably like the guy's the row 7 he founded or some shit, and it's it's awesome because that's just organically what he called it, and now it's called Idaho 7.
And that's just what it's going to be.
But it's a great hop, and people love it. And I mean, for Sierra to use it in a big beer, there's a Northern Hemisphere beer last year,
Oh, really?
says a lot about the beer,
wow.
the hop. It's if they're doing that, they're committing a lot of money, but also resources to doing this thing. So, and then we were able to use it at for CBC with the hop grower that our buyer we use to showcase it, and people responded very well to it. It was a single hop beer, but it really it's one of the few hops I think that on its own can stand, because a lot of times a lot of these hops, in my opinion, when they're by themselves, they don't really work that well in IPAs. You kind of need to layer the flavors of different hops, but Idaho 7 is one that kind of
will hold up a whole
it's
beer on
its own. It's fine. Yeah, same with Citra, I think, and Cascade with pale ale is great.
I've had some good single hop Citras that are.
But when you have
pretty solid.
certain varieties, it's like, it's good beer, but man, it needs something else, you know.
It's tough just working with one flavor.
Yeah.
And one hop, even with the best of hops, it just throws something else in there, and it gets a lot more interesting real quick.
A single hop beer, I think,
it's hard to do.
Like I like with Citra. I think Citra makes a great single hop beer, but
We've
some
done
of
it.
them, it's just cool to be able to say, okay, this is what this particular hop is, because there's nothing else there.
And we
it's
do
cool
that,
to be able
you know?
to experience
We do it
that.
to test it, really.
Right.
I mean, like, so the lemon drop thing is like we want to see what these flavors taste like on their own, and we've done that over the last year and a half, where we're saying, like, show me Motueka by itself. It's not going to be a bad beer, but we're going to learn the flavor of it, and then next time we use it, I know, that really works well with X, whatever that X might be, and then it's just building those profiles.
X is the new variety.
The new hop, whatever.
It's going to be it's called X.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you can trademark X.
No. You could probably
Probably
trademark it in the context of hops.
It would cost a lot of money probably to do that.
It might. You can call a beer America, apparently.
And not even have your company
And it's
from
not even,
America.
Which is actually, I mean, I'm not like the guy who's like sitting here and being, I don't really care about that. However, if I submit a fucking TTB application that had the word America as a beer name, I guarantee you they would deny it.
Oh,
They would
yeah,
say,
absolutely.
I don't even know what grounds. It would probably just be like denied, like, you can't use the fucking country name and the beer name.
You'll be denied. Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, are you dumb? So I kind of like offended that they were able to do that. It doesn't matter. It's all advertising, but that is kind of weird that they're able to just do that.
Well,
What other
they're
beer company
Budweiser.
would just change their name?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't
Well,
change
and that's
the
the
name.
thing. Like,
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, no,
they're
it's
going to call it
temporary.
America for
Yeah.
6 months.
So it's probably not. They probably get away with it because they're not.
Because
It's
they've got
temporary.
more money than anyone else.
Well, that as well.
That's why they get away with
But
it.
it's
It
also
has to be
temporary.
approved
Like, they're
by
not, like,
the federal government.
changing
I mean,
the-
TTB is a federal
They have
arm of the
to.
government.
Yeah,
But how many
They have to approve the label.
former or current Budweiser people have been or are?
Maybe too many.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Bingo.
actually that's probably.
Many years ago, I heard a story once about Dogfish. Sam had a name approved from TTB, from unexpecting, I guess, TTB agent. That was Golden Shower Pilsner. And that was approved, but then the following year, they, apparently, I guess, told him,
Unapproved it.
don't fucking do that again. Like, you got one by us or whatever.
Or they
So
could
they
just
had
go
to
to Urban
rename it.
Dictionary.
Yeah. Well, talking about,
Probably didn't exist then.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's awesome. They should go back and brew it again just for that.
Well, it's called something else now. It's their Imperial Pilsner, which I believe is, I don't know what it's called. Doesn't matter.
Pretty sure we
Nothing
checked.
as cool as Golden Shower.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like. I was gonna say Yellow Snow, but that's not really any better, is it?
That's actually a road
It does
beer,
exist,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
though. Yellowstone's fine, Gold Shower not so much.
I checked Urban Dictionary when we did Pacific Rim Crusher. I assumed there had to be something out there.
Had to come
It
up.
had to be something.
It had to be
probably
something.
is something.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be something as soon as this podcast gets uploaded.
Yeah.
It wasn't at that moment.
yeah, I think Rim Job was way too easy to
Yeah.
connect the dots on for Rim Crusher.
That's kind of where I thought it would go. Well, there is another beer.
All right,
there.
moving on.
Now that we're done talking
Sorry.
Now
about
that we're
rim
getting
jobs,
to it, let's
Done with those Rim Jobs.
this is the
This
big
is
one.
the most expensive beer ever made by Second Story or any
right.
fucking brewery in the history of breweries. No, this is, well, yes, that's true, actually. This is the Potluck Barley Wine. So we made this in collaboration with not only Deer Creek Malt House in Pennsylvania, but also
Blacklands.
9 other malt houses in the United States.
Can you name all of them?
No. We
But
can-
didn't even
Blacklands
try.
is a
They're
really
just like,
great one. That was
Blackland's great malt, yeah, solid malt. Shit, I have no idea.
yeah, we're going to piss off a lot of people. Deer Creek. We got two out of 9. That's not
yeah.
bad.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. 2 out of 9 ain't bad,
Yeah.
as the Meatloaf song goes.
So, so the idea here was when we were approached by Deer Creek to make this beer for CBC, it was showcase the malt, and like an idiot, I said, "Oh well, barley wine showcases the malt." Well, what I didn't think about was that barley wine also
How much malt?
needs a whole lot of goddamn malt, right? So we should have did a bitter or like something, an ESB or
An
something.
English mild.
Like, no,
mild.
let's shoot the moon.
Oh,
Let's
they're
do
great.
this.
So we bought about 2,000 pounds of malt
That's a ton.
for this, or 15 barrel brewer. That's a lot of
What
goddamn.
about a ton?
If you're keeping track
put
at
it in
home, that
scale.
is literally a ton.
Fucking ton of malt, yeah. And
shit.
on brew day, I got about.
Please tell me you didn't have to mill all that by yourself.
No, we were both kind of a part of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We weren't here at brew day, but
No, I milled everything the day before.
That was on purpose.
Oh, whatever.
Did you literally mill a ton of malt?
Nah, because it wouldn't all fit.
About 1,300 pounds.
No, because the plan,
1,400
because
pounds.
the whole
1,600 pounds.
rig will only hold so much. So
Yeah.
it was like, all right, just mill this much, and then as we're mashing in, we'll mill the rest of it as there's like headspace.
That was the idea. But the fucking mash tun filled up completely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was full.
Yeah.
So, and then it was a disaster. So, a lot of this malt was 6-row. We didn't adjust the mill for 6-row malt, which is narrow, so it wasn't crushed very well. So we got really shitty efficiency, like 55%. So I boiled for 4 hours because I needed to get the gravity up. So I wound up with 10. Eventually, at the end of the 4-hour fucking boil, I wound up with 10 barrels of beer in the bright tank, which is actually not that bad. But it cost a fucking fortune, as you can imagine. But the beer is fucking sweet, right? It's a cool beer.
good
So,
beer. Yes.
So it has a ton, obviously, of malt character. We did late.
Literally
I
a
did,
ton
yeah,
of
literally
malt
a ton of malt.
character.
Yeah, I didn't even think.
Character.
Yeah, it's a great way of putting it.
That's what I'm putting on the tablecloth.
Has a ton of malt character.
Literally.
And you taste it, and it's. I mean, this thing is literally from dozens of farms all over the U.S. And maltsters. So it's really like, well, potluck is probably the best way of saying it when you go to like a potluck or whatever, and you
makes
bring
sense.
all your
Why did I put two
dishes in.
T's?
But really, like toffee forward caramel.
It's very
we
nutty.
late. Yeah,
Like a nutty
we
character,
late
yeah.
hopped it with EKGs, these kind of Goldings, but they don't really come through that much, even with like a 10-pound dose of EKGs. But this beer's been laying around for a while, which is cool. So it's been laying down for about 2 or 3 months now, post fermentation, and we're going to put some away for the next few years because we're going to lay it down for release next year and the following year.
That's cool.
Steph
Close
can't
one.
stop
I
spilling
spilled
it.
it again.
She almost spilled mine.
She
and now
spilled it while
hers.
she was
I'm
labeling
spilling it while I'm
the
labeling
stain
it.
from her last spill.
So this one's actually a 10%er.
10.5, yeah, 10.5.
Is it 10.5?
Oh, it says 10 in the notes.
I thought it.
We bumped it up a little bit while we weren't looking.
I personally thought
I
it drank
added a
more
dose
like
of
an
that.
old ale than it does a
Instant beer,
barley
the
wine.
powder.
Yeah, powder.
That's just me, but I
No,
think
I agree
it's
with that completely. Actually.
more of an old ale than a true barley wine. At least an American barley wine would be.
So it's not hop forward at all. It's
Right,
really
not
it drinks malty.
I mean, it
very
does.
malty.
It showcases
It's got-
the malt, which
yeah,
was the
absolutely.
whole purpose. But
A bit of bitterness in the back end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's bitter. I mean, it's about
Yeah.
we calculated
it's
about
balanced enough to drink it.
100
Yeah.
plus IBUs of bitterness.
Yeah.
But you need that with this kind of malty sweetness
Oh,
you
yeah.
have, right? So I think the ultimate idea, was to put it in a barrel. Someone in a barrel.
It would be perfect in a barrel.
It's not going to happen now because we soured everything and carbonated it. But we are going to pull half barrels off kegs and just store them for a while and
Just let it.
release them every year or something like that. So
Oh, that's cool.
To make it feel like it was all worth it.
yeah, well, it was a long. I was so. It was so fucking long that I was done
That's what she
everything
said.
I can possibly think of in the brewery. And I'm just sitting on the
Just,
brew
like,
deck
sitting
like,
there,
I'm just boiling wort. Here we go. Just fucking
Da,
boiling
da.
wort. I mean, it was like boring. I was like, I'm totally done cleaning the mash tun. The grain's done. Everything's fucking done, but we're still boiling wort. Because 4 hours is a very long time.
That's
to
when you just
boil
get
wort.
pretzels and beer.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
sit around.
I don't like to drink while I'm working, which is kind of
Even
stupid,
on a
actually.
4-hour boil day.
Who doesn't
Yeah,
like to drink while they're brewing? I've
Yeah.
never heard of such a thing.
Well,
I don't fuck around with
Well,
that.
when he says he doesn't like to, he's not saying he doesn't.
Maybe
He doesn't-
I sample. I sample.
Yeah, sampling.
From the fermenters. Sorry.
Sample. You got to sample. It's part of the job.
So I would have called this potluck fiasco barley wine.
Oh, it was a goddamn fiasco.
Potluck
That's for
fiasco.
Also, it came in 2 bags FedEx this day, 6 bags delivered by hand this day, 7 bags this day, a bag by FedEx this day. It was just like a mess of collecting all this
One
shit.
bag came by stork.
One bet, yeah,
whole
no,
thing.
it's, like 10 storks actually.
10 storks.
Yeah, you need a lot of storks to carry a bag of grain.
That's true. It's pretty heavy, I guess.
But no, it was fun. It
Or
was
just a beefy
we
stork.
we overcommitted.
Swole.
We overcommitted. It was too much. It was like just too much, guys.
I spilled so much that the Sharpie smeared. How is that even possible? You see this?
I do see that. Nothing's better than a beer with a story.
Oh, it's a fucking.
You
story,
gotta
yeah.
love a beer with a story.
Would you say it's got a second story?
That's very
Now
cheesy.
it's probably never
I
going to be
agree
made
with
again.
that.
It's probably this is probably another one-off.
I will tell you, this will not be brewed again. I can tell you that right now. This
will never happen.
One and done, my friend.
Next time Deer Creek calls, you'll be prepared.
Yeah. I break Josh's balls, Josh from Deer Creek, all the time.
Original recipe or extra crispy?
Yeah.
Which Josh? They
There's
have two
Joshes.
Joshes.
Or good hair Josh.
Good hair
Another
Josh.
Oh,
Another Josh.
good hair, Josh.
Okay.
Everybody knows, when you say good hair,
Just
everybody
so you guys know, Rory, for about a year and a half before I really knew Rory's name when we were in a homebrew club together.
You called him Josh?
No.
Close.
Somebody like, yo, did you? Rory said something. I'm like, who the fuck is Rory? And I was like, oh, Rory, guy with good hair. I'm always like, oh, fuck yeah, I know that guy. That guy's got great hair, right? It's very soft. It's
Good
very
hair.
nice.
The guy with
But no, anyway, Josh with good hair, yeah, of course, yeah. Which one is that?
He's original
recipe. And then the other one.
He's also Joshtimus Prime.
Joshtimus Prime.
He had a
And good hair Josh.
big beard.
Oh, yeah.
Did,
He used to just have the goatee, and then he...
Nordic, very Nordic.
Yeah.
Nordic Josh.
Nordic is
Now he
good.
has four
Nordic. I
names.
like Nordic, yeah.
I like that.
We like extra crispy Josh, though, too.
Wow, this was a very impressive flavor journey, kind of like last time. I had a feeling you'd blow us out of the water, and you did. And it's like Wayne said, last time we were raving about how well you did with lagering and German styles, and this time you did a one-up on it all with the different hop flavors and then the ton of malts, which...
Quite literally a ton
a ton of malts. But it goes to show that you certainly know what you're doing with your beer.
Well, we try to make people think that. Yes.
Well, it comes across. It definitely comes across. And I would imagine the new tap room is going to just go over as a hit. And I know I would like to stop there, because Pottstown, it's sort of on the way back to Philly from Reading, give or take.
Yeah.
So I
It's
can
like to
just
have-
swing off
No,
and
less
grab a
than
beer
halfway.
from Second Story and then not get back on the road because I was drinking. Should have thought that sentence through.
And I just want to mention Crowlers.
Yes, and
And
Crowlers are
they
great.
don't
yeah.
break when you drop them. Just saying.
This episode is brought to you in part by Crowlers.
And we know that beer busters like to drop growlers.
Oh, no. It's not a beer buster.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No beer busters
Oh,
were
it was a beer
involved
buster.
in the dropping of a crowler.
Yes.
In the literal sense of the words.
Fair enough.
He indeed was a beer buster.
Yes.
Touche.
Yes.
It's like trying out to be your mascot. He was literally busting beer.
Don't worry, I got this. Clink.
I know what you guys need.
do.
Pretty much. But man, it was great. There was not a bad beer in the bunch as I expected, and I'm looking forward to what you guys have coming down the road. And I like that
Thank
you're
you.
distributing, because that means if I happen to be at another bar in the area, I can still get one of your beers.
Indeed. Not all of them, because we're still waiting to come here.
Right, of course.
However, yes,
Because the
indeed.
pretzels are here.
The pretzels
True.
indeed
Pretzels are not distributed.
are here. The
Salty pretzels.
are indeed here.
Yes, right. Oh, man, you used that against me.
Sing!
Well done. Very
Thank you.
Oh, he led you along for like 2 hours.
well. Just dragging
Just
me through
for
the
that.
mud there.
Just for that.
Farewell. Just set you up and knocked you down.
Boom.
That's
That was the whole reason we even came here.
Exactly. It's like I gotta
All
play
leading
this
up
clip.
to
I gotta do this clip. Man, we can't
now we
thank
can
you-
die happy.
Yeah, exactly. And we can't thank you guys enough for having us out here.
Oh,
This
for
was
sure,
great.
man. It's a great time.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, it was a lot of
This
fun.
was a blast.
I mean, keep up the great work, and I will happily drink these beers every day. Let's not forget this episode is brought to you by Audible. You can go to audibletrial.com/beerbuster, sign up for your free 30-day trial of an Audible account where you can download, listen to, and keep your own audiobook. Because let's face it, nobody wants to read their own words anymore. Let somebody else read them to you. Your eyes get a break, your ears get to work overtime, and you get to ingest a book.
And you'll find out if you have fast ears.
Exactly. And that is audibletrial.com/beerbusters.
And if you go to patreon.com/beerbusters and sign up to be a patron, if we get 20 25 patrons signed up within a month from the release of this episode, we guarantee you that Dan will keep all his audible spots to less than 10 seconds.
Wow.
Make it happen.
Let's go, people, please.
Gee, thanks. Thanks.
Effort Beer Fest, Saturday, June 25th. Pottstown Brew Fest, Saturday, October 22nd.
Exactly. Remember, VIP for the Pottstown one, if you're in the VIP hour, you get a special on Beer Buster shirts, 2 for the price of $30 instead of $20
And a free
a
high
piece.
five.
And a free autographed high five.
Sweet.
Let's not make promises we can't keep.
Exactly. Well, this sadly brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And seriously, guys, thank you so much for having us out here.
Thank you for coming out.
This was a
look at
blast.
that.
In unison!
That was really awkward.
That was just great.
Unplanned and very awkward.
Wow.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say after that.
A virtual
Sorry,
bow.
Paul Miller, but we ran out of time.
I still have to fill 20 seconds. Okay. Well, I am Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host, Amber Wilogist, who is talking to her husband.
And Tommy Arthur is outside.
And
Just
the
saying.
demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
Here for Beer Week, I think.
Yeah, probably. Well, let's not forget, no squids were harmed in the making of this episode, and we'll see you next time.
Sorry, Paul Miller.
Hey guys, this is our second story.
Oh, shit. You're on your 4th story then. That's how it works.